Welcome back, MTG Joe here, and there's an announcement about a historic open. So we saw the standard open a couple months ago. It was a 2-day tournament that you could register through Arena, and it paid out cash rewards. If you went, I think 7-1 day one, you'd qualify for day two, and then you could win like $2,000 US in cash. So this format is historic. So I believe it's following the same structure of it being best of one on day one, and then qualifying into best of three. So what I thought I would do is kind of demo some of the more prevalent decks that you would see in the format. Obviously, it being best of one, Nexus of Fate is best banned in best of one. And with the banned and restricted, I have a feeling something's going to probably go from that deck. That's coming up on Monday. So I've already featured Gruul. Gruul is the deck I got to Mythic with again this month. It is one of these staple, or like, it's the premier aggro deck of the format. It's very resilient, very explosive, especially in a best of one format. That's probably something you'd want to look into. You usually want to be more linear in terms of your plan and just do your thing better and more efficient than your opponent. If you are playing Gruul, I would suggest maybe exploring, especially for best of one, something either like the Gargoth, the 5-mana 6/6 with all the stacked abilities, in like a bigger Gruul shell, or a Ripjaw Raptor. The 4-mana 4/5, when it's dealt damage you draw cards. Those are usually mirror breakers in the Gruul matchup, so it kind of puts you ahead. So that video is already on YouTube from my most recent run to Mythic. So what I wanted to do here is feature two variations of Field of the Dead decks. So Field of the Dead is if you have 7 or more unique lands, you get to create a zombie. So there's kind of two avenues that you can kind of see. There's a Scape Shift variant and a non-Scape Shift variant. So I'm going to start off with the Scape Shift. Basically, this one's more of an all-in combo style. You're going to generate a bunch of zombies at the same time. You could try to do it at instant speed as well with Teferi's ability. So kind of end a turn, sack all your lands, make a bunch of zombies attack in and win. There's also the way to do it with Kenrith to give your team haste. So there's kind of that variant. Basically, the theme of the deck is get to 7 mana as quick as possible. You have Grazer, Growth Spiral, Rejuvenator, Migration Path to kind of get you ahead. And then Golos finds you the key lands you're missing. Golos' activation is also a way to get ahead in terms of advantage. Also Uro to get ahead on lands. So I was taking a look at lists because I haven't played too much Field recently. Most of them have shifted away from having Shatter the Skies in the main board. Might be a little iffy because Gruul's one of the more pressing matchups. Nexus is the worst matchup for the deck, just because you don't really do enough to interact with them in a fast enough manner, unless you stick a Teferi. So what I did was just kind of trim. I do like the addition of Ugin in the list. In the mirror, it gives you a way to just clear out their zombies. It could allow you to catch up while still kind of play. Yeah, I think Null's main board shatter is wrong, but I want to try. This list finished 4th in one of the historic challenges. So I want to see how it goes, but we'll see. I'm probably going to make that concession and put them in. Gruul is just too much of a hassle against the deck, especially because Questing Beast. So I'm going to give it a try with Ugin, but I'll probably switch it up. Like they do have the Shatter. This list I want to try it out too. They're going with Meddling Mage. I'm assuming it's to name the Nexus matchup. You name Nexus of Fate. But I do usually like the Aether Gusts and playing in that. Hey Meister. And then just another Ugin. So there's that version there that I'm going to try out. And then there's also this version that I prefer. I've been playing this one a bit. So this one's a little bit more all-in ramp, but more focused on Golos with Nexus of Fate. So you basically get to the point where you can take all the turns and then use stuff like Kenrith to kind of go off. Again, this list doesn't have Shatter's main, but I wasn't doing as poorly with it because I did have the Ugins. So I'm going to run it through, see how it goes, and then we can always revert it back. So just want to kind of play some matches, see how it goes. Let's start with the Scape Shift version. I've been noticing a more increase of the field decks, and if... Yeah, fields, it was down a bit. So I was playing Obliterator all last season. I got to top 1200. I was playing it a bit at the beginning of this season. But with so many Nexus decks, Obliterator sucks. Thanks for the follow, Sidekick. Or Sidetrack. Sidetrack, you're the one on Twitter who's posting the Jeskai list as well, right? The Jeskai control list? I gotta try that out. I was trying to do more Teferi tribal with 4 mana Teferi, but it felt kind of weak. I love me some Jeskai control. We fell to 98. Haven't played that much the last couple days. So this hand's not going to do much. We want more lands. This hand's also, if we had, because these are pretty much dead draws. Yeah, I was kind of playing more to the meme originally with like Oath of Teferi. Okay, so let's put you back, Not a terrible, if we draw a blue source then I'm happy. But this is usually critical mass of lands that we want. It's actually not bad if we can get ahead to that. If we hit one more land, we're okay. Yeah, I gotta try that out. So they're probably Scape Shift or Nexus. Let's just put this, get it ready for 4. How many black sources are you? Why did it tap like that? How many black sources are you running for Village Rites? Because usually black's just a minor splash in these decks. I really, if this is Nexus, yeah, it's Nexus. I hope they ban Wilderness Reclamation. I want them to keep Nexus of Fate. I think it's a useful card in a lot of these kind of draw your whole deck. Yeah, this matchup's probably... I'm probably just going to concede this game and then go to sideboard. Actually wasn't paying attention if what they named probably Wreck. Let's go get a black and red source. Guess we're like not completely out of it. 5 tier. Okay. The new Bant lists, they run only 2 Wrecks, right? And then they just focus more on Teferi to get the Nexus going. I could try to get a land, but I just think I want to get field going. So green, white, blue, red, black. Yeah, I feel like Wreck's more reliable. Plus, it just lets you do busted things. Because Teferi, you could get it soonest. Usually on turn. So you Growth Spiral on 2. Turn 4. Turn 3 or 4.
No tail should be discarded.
Okay, they shatter here. Let's do it like this in case I draw Teferi. Oops. Yeah, I don't have fun playing the Nexus decks. It's the same with like Teamer Wreck. I think it's a deck I'd enjoy more in paper just because you can like visually display. But on Arena, I just don't enjoy going through all the nuanced steps. Okay, so I'm going to crank this up to 5. I want to take them off this Teferi.
You know what? I'm not
So 1, 2. Can only put 2 counters on it. Probably lost this one. I wasn't expecting much with them all. It's actually not bad.
That was uncalled for.
I think we just try to combo them with Escape Shift for next turn.
Let's skip to the good part.
I definitely like Bandscape Shift better against the Gruul matchups. When I was playing Gruul against like the Simic version, it was pretty much an auto win. They have a hard time of keeping pace with you.
Let me aid your research.
I actually think I'm gonna do this. It's probably fine. We can do it one more.
Make another move.
Because if they have Shatter, they're 29 cards, so they're pretty likely between the Teferi draw and Tameo. If they draw another Nexus, then I might just pull this one away. Go to sideboard, bring in some counters. Okay, so they got the wreck.
The past is never forgotten.
Likely means that they have the
Oh,
thing in hand. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can get one more Field of the Dead. I can get a Fabled Passage, Breeding Pool. Hey Quantum, how's it going? Queued up first match. Ran into probably the worst matchup for us in Nexus. So we're weaker to like a Shatter here, but I think they're just going to get the Nexus going anyways. Yeah. They're trying to play around it there. They do have 2 untaps of lands, but they could play the Wreck and then they could play Thing again. Nexus. Hey Meister. Thanks for stopping by. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like, we still have the out of the one of Ugin in our deck. Actually be pretty good right now. Let's see if we can hit it. If not, I'm just going to go to sideboard. Not the worst. Go get another field. And then hold up this Fabled just to do it on end step in case they wipe. Ugin's only 3% chance. So they can go wreck to basically get this off the board. They can also just tuck it at any time.
I think you will find my notes helpful.
Once they reach about 20 cards and they have both Teferi and thing going with Evantris, you're pretty much done. So let's see how this version goes. I usually like pulling the curve down a bit. So Teferi's good in this matchup. 3 cuts. Cutting a bit of our ramp. Ghost Quarter and Thing are both good. Blast Zone's fine, so probably don't want to cut a land. We're on 30. Maybe we just get rid of Scape Shift together. I don't like this version as much. We're going to go switch to the other version after this game. I like the other one better. I think Wilderness Reclamation. Nexus, oh, I hope. Nexus has more utility, I think. Like in my other version that I play 2 Nexus, and you basically with Golos, you can kind of go off. I'm going to keep this hand. Mono black aggro, or I'm gonna just keep this. There's not really a defined mono black deck in the format right now. There's a couple people playing some like aggro versions or devotions. They're not the best. Usually I found with Obliterator you want to splash another color. Probably just go do this, play out Ghost Quarter, and then play out. Against field, they're usually not fast enough, and because they could spam enough creatures, you're usually not ahead. I found the matchup pretty hard with the Obliterator decks, and I was playing either Rakdos or Orzhov. Generally speaking, like if you use the Goblin that blows up lands, it's usually not quick enough. You can use something like the Regisaur. This is actually interesting line. So I can Uro. What do they have in the graveyard? They have Uro. I can name Shatter the Sky. I can name 5 mana Tef. I think we just Uro this turn. Get ahead on lands. Okay. Let's just eat their Uro now, get in a point of damage. I grabbed it, so I wanted to highlight some of the historic decks, so I took the this one finished 4th in a recent tournament for historic, so there hasn't been huge amounts of coverage. So yeah, I was considering naming Teferi. So it looks like some lists are playing this. I guess the cycling later in the game. This one's also not really playing gates, so my the temples or the circuitous route's not as good. So we can go. This is awkward. I really don't like this version. So this is good. We played it. I wanted to test the Scape Shift version. I've never liked the Scape Shift. I've always liked the more value-oriented, either Yark Field or kind of the more grindy versions, like Golos Fire's Field. Being able to do it over a number of turns is better in my opinion. The mono black deck is actually okay against Gruul if you could get Obliterator out early enough. But in the games you don't have Obliterator, it's pretty garbage. They don't have any creatures. I'm not gonna attack because they can have Shark Typhoon. I just pop that on 2. So we can't eat anything in their graveyard yet, but we get this back. Field's online next turn, but this version hasn't been
Let's
great.
skip to the good part.
They shock there. Yeah, they hard cast Typhoon. Yeah, I think the Shatter main, it depends. Like in this matchup, having Shatter main's not that good. I'm just gonna... We're done here, folks. We're done on this one. I'm gonna switch the versions. I don't like this one as much. The nice thing, I already qualified for top 1200 Mythic last month, so I don't need to worry about where I finish in Mythic this turn. So I prefer this version. So this one's a little bit more combo-y with Golos. I play 4 Shatters side. I think what I want to do, bring 2 Shatters main. Play the 2 Shatters side. Questing Beast I bring in against the Nexus matchups. Disdainful Stroke. Probably just something first early aggro still. Probably Baffling End. Hate this new search. So this version, you're basically trying to go... Yeah, the uses are actually a pretty good idea. I'm not even going to bring in the disputes. The likelihood you're going to draw the disputes and then make them meaningful. I like to be more linear with our deck. Teferi is not as necessary in our build, I find. I might cut the Teferi's ult. No, but it's good against Nexus. Let's try this. I was having some success with this. I've been brewing some other decks in Historic. There's a Sultai Dredge version that I've been trying to play with, like, Lazav copying Uros. You can do Demonic Betrayal, whatever the new enchantment is, to get back from the graveyard. You have all the kind of self-mill stuff, Necromebia, that new 3/1 that if you gain 3 life, it comes back. Grey Unleashed, thanks for the follow. Sounds fine. So looking for another ramp spell at this point. Particularly Golos. So they're on the play. So usually this matchup's who can get ahead on lands first. We're not going to be missing a land drop, which is good right now. That's actually really good for us. Lets us put another land into play. Okay, so there's a field. I go Elvish Rejuvenator here, and then I can play Breeding Pool. Okay, so they're Yark field, so they're going to double. Do I bounce it this turn? Try to get ahead. I think we bounce it this turn.
I am not going to sit this one. Here
We can draw into, like, perfect. Growth Spiral. Because this could be followed up with, like, a Cavalier or Risen Reef. I go Grazer. So they usually play 1 Nexus.
you just let me know if you're up for round 2.
Yeah, I think it's better that way. Okay, so I'm gonna crack this. don't have black mana, so let's get a swamp. So now this comes into play. We do this. Set up our scry here. I would love a ghost quarter. I think mana efficiency, let's just do this.
Let's slow this down. No, I am not making this up as I go.
I'm gonna hold off on this for when I play my second field. Okay, Cavalier's fine. Yeah, bounce Elvish is a play. I can do that next turn. I'm probably gonna do Ghost Quarter the land, Ghost Quarter their Field of the Dead, and then Nexus of Fate to get it back into my library. So let's get rid of that. Let's Nexus of Fate. I'm gonna hold off again. That's you. Kenrith is sweet. So we can go Field of the Dead here. Can I do both? I can. Let's get another red source.
I've got time.
We'll fetch here. Really just need a Golos now. We can kind of go nuts. They can get some blocks, but we just want to put some chip damage on them. They can Uro back this turn. So pretty much if you see an Abosh in your opponent's companion zone, it's pretty much guaranteed to be Yarick Field from what I've seen. Okay, the Nexus here. They can't really attack in. Yarick's fine. So they get double trigger here, which is pretty gross. Bring a Bosch back. Yeah. So we pretty much wrap that up. So in this matchup, Aether Gust. Oh. It's actually the second time in the mirror match. Golos Field, Yarick Field usually scoops. Let's run one more. So I'll probably do, so I did Gruul, I'll do this. I want to try Sidetrack's Jeskai control list that they posted on Twitter. Looks really sweet. No settles. Settle is very bad against Gruul. They generally have Spellbreaker out, so you kind of get stuck in the situations. So double Grazer is kind of trash, but you keep any hand that goes 1-2. His hand's also decent against Nexus. Okay, this is likely Gruul. So next turn, I can actually go Grazer and Growth Spiral. Just block like this. Do this. Put Ketria Triome in. Let's go. So Teferi's okay in the Gruul matchup. It does stop Ember Cleave. So notably, this is where we'll see if adding the 2 Shatters helps. Could still be Questing Beast. Zerta. So they do have Cleave. That's something that's live. I'm going to take the damage this turn. Okay, so it's just an ambush. Untapped Lion to be great here, because it lets me play out 2 things. Perfect. So let's go Tef.
Sorry I'm late.
Tef bounce.
Oh, I've done the hero thing before.
And now really we just want to find a Field of the Dead. If we can, we're in a pretty solid spot. So I don't have black mana. Fields. Perfect. I get 2 zombies next turn. See how they attack here. So I'm going to take them off the Spellbreaker. Teferi's dead anyways, so... And I get 2 zombies to block this next turn. So it's a little unfortunate. I do need to crack this so we lose the zombies. Let's go another white. So if I get Shatter, it works. I guess I could plus, or the opponent concede. Yeah, I think plus is the right thing there. So, bring in all this removal. Cut the Nexus. Trim a Teferi. Trim a Solemn. Trim a Kenrith. Trim a Golos. Get rid of Ghost Quarter. Can probably go down to 28 lands. Get rid of the Field of Ruin. Oh no, this version doesn't have Field of Ruin. Blast Zone's actually pretty good in this matchup. Kenrith's a decent mana sink. Arrow's okay. The only thing I like about Blast Zone is in a pinch you can hit... They have a lot of 2-drops, and it can also hit 3-drops. Maybe on the play, because we're really just going to try to get ahead. I want to keep enough ramp elements. And Ugin's kind of our payoff here. The math kind of got a little weird, because I just added in the Baffling Ends. So those were 2 slots that were generally dedicated to the Nexus matchup, but I think I'm just going to punt the Nexus matchup and then focus on some of the other matchups. Just said matchup way too many times. Yeah, sounds good. We're missing another white, but... I think Grazers in and of themselves are pretty decent. Because like here, it'll help us just block in the early game. So even just an 0-3 to start off insulates our life total a bit. And opponent's draw here is quite slow. So I'll just take the block here because we're going to set up for a shatter on turn 5. This blocks and then refills. The fact they kept Bone Crusher in against us isn't the best for them either. That's fine. So just absorb the most amount of damage here. They do get a card draw, but I'm not too concerned with that, especially now we have triple shatter. We do want to land. If we can draw a land, it'd be really good. Elf. So I think I let them play more to the board. Even if I shatter. So either this lets me draw a card and gain life. Okay, Questing Beast. So I take 4. I gain 5. Even if they cleave, we're okay. A little bit of a gamble here. This does 10, so how the trample works is we take 9. Maybe we should have swept there. Like a cleave turn. Yeah. So how Death Touch works is now we're dead to basically any stomp. And they get the card draw. Most likely a misplay. Actually, that might put enough in the graveyard for Uro. Okay, so maybe we're not completely out of this. Sick. Alright. I played a little loose there. We were okay coming out of it, but I don't think that's necessarily the line. You probably should have just, with 3 shatters in hand, we should have just played it safe. Let me just give Arena a quick reset. Finding a little bit of a leg, and then we'll fire up. Let me know too if there's any other historic decks. There's probably a mono black, or I'm gonna do mono green aggro. I think there's some legs to that one. Trying to see like on MTG zone. I'm not going to play Nexus. I don't enjoy playing Nexus. Ooh, Dinosaurs. That's what I want to play. We'll play that next. I think this deck's pretty sweet. It's another kind of aggro version, which would be good for... Yeah, Jund Storm Herald. It's a little worse against Scavenging Ooze coming into the format now. But it's definitely an interesting deck. Do you have a good humans list, Cray? I've tried a few variants, and I just don't find it that effective. Vampires is another deck. I'm missing too many of the Mythics right now, and with Jumpstart coming out, I'm trying to hold off. Death Whirler is a pretty decent deck as well, but I find it usually falls flat against Gruul. How did they build there? Steel Leaf Champion's another payoff, really good against the field decks as well. You got Gem Razor. Probably try a... Yeah, there's a couple of like aggro-y versions of the decks. Let me run one more with this field list. This Golos Nexus version's a lot better than the Escape Shift, I find. We haven't even gotten into the loops yet. So basically, We've yet to activate a Golos, but there's times I've like Golos into like an Uro, Ugin, and Nexus of Fate, which has been like ridiculous. Merfolk's, it's like tier 3, I find. I tried to play it a few times. It has some like really crazy draws, but on average it's a bit too slow. You're missing like it needs Aether Vial. Humans and Merfolk need Aether Vial. Goblins actually is pretty decent. I could probably put together a Goblins list. I haven't tried with Snoop yet, actually. That could be something cool to play as well. Because Snoop is like a mini experimental frenzy for that deck. Yeah, I think we'll do... It's supposed to be like thunderstorms and crazy weather here all weekend, so I'm going to be stuck inside. So I'll probably do a couple more extra streams. So I'll do like dinos, goblins, mono green. I really enjoy Historic. It's the format I play. Once a piece of Nexus hopefully gets banned, I can reintroduce my Obliterator decks. To give you an idea, at one point with my Orzhov version into Diamond, I was like 18. I think like 18-1. I gotta keep this hand. We're a little light on lands, but I was like 18-5, and then I checked again and it was like 18-16. I just went on like a terrible winning streak. I just kept running into Nexus with it. So there's a couple Sultai decks. Alright, Meister, take it easy. Thanks for stopping by. This could be Esper Control, Sultai. So this could be Ramp. Flash? Well, you know what's good? Oh, this guy's in gold. Oh, wow. Esper is okay. There's a couple versions. They usually try to play like the Orion style. This is actually interesting. Wildborn Preserver means they're... Let's try.
Sorry I'm late. No,
Land.
I am not making this up as I go.
But it tapped our mana wrong. No! I should have paid attention. We missed the growth spiral that turn. What's this opponent? Like, it's Sultai Flash, I'm guessing. Why else?
Trust me, I have a plan.
Let's see what we find off the Preserver here. Let's get the life here. Oops, thought that was Fabled Passage. Just need a Fields. No attacks. Is this just Flash Wolves? I always forget this isn't a wolf. Somehow an elf archer. It's the smallest thing in the art. Yeah, it's Flash. Fine.
I'll protect you.
I'm just gonna crank up the blast zone to 2 and just kill their board. Or I can just Ugin next turn. I don't have a black source. I don't have a red source. Red is better for Kenrith. block here, Ugin minus. Yes, keep playing your 2-drops. I love when you play 2-drops. This is actually really good for us because this comes down, kills. That keeps Teferi around. Perfect. So let's Ugin -2.
An opportunity to address is a chance to fail.
This is basically garbage time now.
Unwritten.
Active Ugin, Teferi locking out the flash deck, and we're gonna get zombies every turn. Really just need a Golos. 6 cards, so Uro's coming back next turn.
Really should have seen that coming.
Yeah. So this is a matchup. Baffling End, Shatters. I don't think we want the counter spells. Aether Gust is interesting. Maybe bring in 2. Nexus of Fate could come out. Kenrith could come out. Golos could come out. Ghost Quarter come out. 2 cuts. Cut a Grazer. And actually don't think I want Kenriths in this matchup. Nexus is keeping 1 Nexus still prevents us from milling out. But them we basically just want to get to a point of redundancy with our lands. If we could stick a Teferi, we're in an okay spot. Flash is an interesting matchup. I haven't played enough of it recently to really see, you know, the theory they can get under you could be pretty good. This is a... So this version here with black, we need to watch out for stuff like the enchantment that makes our zombie tokens die. The -2/2 to all zombies. Keep. Try this out. Perfect. Growth Spiral or hold up Aether Gust. As much as possible, I want them to spend mana on their turn. Oh, they missed a land. Okay, that's fine. We don't have any white mana for the Shatter. I feel like we're always missing white mana. I need to check 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sources, 8 sources with the plains. They probably have a counter here, but we eventually need to get counters out of them. Okay, no counter's good. Would really like a field here. Gonna take this trade if they offer. Kind of want to get the draw here. Ooh, Slitherwisp. Okay, so we're gonna have to put this to 3 and then crack it. 1, 2, 1, 2. There was a line where I could have Aether Gusted this back, but I think if they have something like Frilled Mystic, I want to be able to deal with that. I want to get this off because this gives them card advantage. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We still kill this here. Getting this off the battlefield's important. I think I want that as my land. Throw a block here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is where like they could kind of get under us. We haven't drawn a field. If we have a field, then we're in an okay spot. Okay, we got Golos. 2, 3, 4, 5. So kind of want to land. If we had another white source, I could have done both. I think we just try to run them dead here. Just throw shatters at them. If they try to like Frilled Mystic, I have Aether Gust for it. We can play around Spell Pierce. We might just have to do 2 counters here. Okay. We take those. They could Slitherwisp here. Brineborn, that's fine. Really like a land so I can try to Golos them, have that get countered, and then play Teferi. Okay, Baffling End's another nice draw here. Just want to try to bait counters out of them. Okay. That is fine with me, because our good friend Teferi comes back.
Let's try this.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need a land. 29 lands in our deck. it's like a mutate version. This can kill Teferi, but that's 6 mana. Slither Wisp. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. This comes to play tapped. Perfect.
Don't worry, I got this.
So I'm actually just going to pass the turn here. I want to be able to shatter when they try to mutate this. I can just shatter now. Nah, let them attack. I let them spend that, because then I can Ugin and destroy it. The goal is just protect a fairy. Do this. Kill you. Plus you. Hoping for a land there just to be able to protect. Next turn I can Golos, get another field, and then we're off to the races. Actually, probably get another red source, so then I can activate it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm just gonna shoot these things, try to ultimate the Ugin.
No more games.
Fine. I can tuck it on their upkeep.
Here we go.
Kind of has a predicament. But I think we do this turn. Go get another Field of the Dead. Do this. That gets us our red source for next turn. So now the ground's pretty locked up. I can Ugin, shoot the Slither Wisp. Or actually I gotta shoot the Flyer. They are doing chip damage to us. You need to take the Brazen off the battlefield first. Not super aggressive. The way they kind of win this game is just doing chip damage with the Slither Wisp. Now they pretty much lost their card advantage engine. Where like I do this every turn.
An opportunity to act rashly is a chance. Consider this.
Here goes nothing.
Hey Daniel Serpa, I'll paste the deck list. I haven't posted this one yet. I posted a Scape Shift version, but I didn't like it as much, so this is something I've been working on. It'll be up on my Aether Hub. I'll post it right after this game. This should be done very shortly. I guess I needed to do this. I need to put a stop before the end step. Alright. Nexus of Fate. Let's Uro first. Let's Growth Spiral. Solemn. Okay, so only one basic left in the deck, so that's something to be noted. We can ultimate Ugin next turn.
Oh, I've done the hero thing before.
Alright, opponent. How do you want to concede? Oh no, they got me.
You just let me know if you're up for round 2.
Let me ultimate Ugin. No, they got me. Keep this one. Good person, opponent. Letting us do our thing. Whatever. And that's why I like this version better. You just go over the top with Ugin. Ugin wins games on its own. Cool. Back into the numbers. Started at 98%. Lost the first one to Nexus with the other Scape Shift version. So Daniel, this is the deck. I'll post it up on Aether Hub right now. So it's kind of a colorless. I do think I want another white source. So I have the 6 basics with that. Let me just see with the lands what I want to change. Ketria. Blast Zone. Fabled Passage 2. So instead of Ghost Quarter, I want Field of Ruin. Field of Ruin. So we need the basics there. Well, I guess that's the only double white in the deck. We have ways to tutor it up. 7, 8, 9. 9. I still want the double forest. The breeding pool is important to have. I can do... Yeah, I think we're okay like that. If we went to... I think I played 29 lands? 28. Trim down a Nexus. I do like the double Nexus, though. But really, we only need the one Nexus for the most part once we start going off. So maybe let's do that. And I think I want green... So I have both temples. Field's been unbanned for a while now. They kept Uro restricted, not Uro, Oko restricted. So I need 1 green-white land. Can do a life gain land. Or do white blue. Now green's still probably my most prevalent in terms of need, because it lets me Grazer that same turn. I'd kill for like a Bant one. I can do this. This lets me have black easier. It's better late game as well. I can cycle. Nah, I think we just go Blossoming Sands. Okay, let me export this. Alright. The Kiani1, thank you for the follow. Let me import this one. The very unique name of Bant Ugin Golos Fields. Alrighty, so deck list is here. Alright, so I'm going to wrap this one up. And I will be back tomorrow. We're going to do dinos and then probably goblins for Historic. So I'm going to do a tour of all the decks that I think are good in Historic. The deck I think is the best, other than Nexus, which I don't want to play, is Gruul. This is what got me to Mythic this month. Relatively good. Really, the tech against the mirror is Ripjaw and the Great Henge. You have a lot of nice answers versus the field matchup as well. Stonecoil was actually pretty good in the deck. Lets you play it early or late. Both are reasonable. But we'll kind of play some decks there. I appreciate everyone stopping by. Monzi4, thanks for the follow. So you can catch, if you missed any part of this deck, it'll be up on YouTube. And then probably YouTube tomorrow, and then I'll be back tomorrow for some live streams, and we'll play a couple more Historic decks. If you do have any other suggestions for Historic decks you'd like to see, barring Nexus, which I just don't want to play, you can drop me a note on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, anything like that, and we can catch up there. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. Have a great one. Stay safe out there.